Hi, my name's Meg. I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is the 4th of March, 2006. I was 18 years old when I got sober. I was very fortunate to have joined a group upon entering Alcoholics Anonymous that, though I was younger than everyone by 30 years, the group asked me if I understood the third tradition. I clearly did not, as my word comprehension was non-existent. For those that don't know, the third tradition states that the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. My home group further explained that if I had a desire to stop drinking, I was welcome in any AA meeting, no matter my age, and I was more than welcome to tell anyone that. I could not have asked for a more inviting AA entrance. Before I got sober, I was this homeless feral street cat that literally no one wanted to invite back. And upon entering Alcoholics Anonymous, I was not only welcomed and invited back, I was given irrefutable proof that I belonged, provided I had a desire to stop drinking, which gratefully I still have to this day. Give or take 10 months later, I was studying at a university in Manhattan, and I went to a late night meeting in Times Square after a class. It was one of those classic meetings where you didn't know how or why your life was going to change. In the middle of the meeting, a handful of very well-dressed, respectable humans walked in with this dignity and grace, all wearing name tags. It was so unusual that the chair stopped the meeting and asked if anyone was new and if anyone was celebrating to join us. Each and every one of the new group introduced themselves. They told us what area they were from, what their home group was, what day it met, then proceeded to invite us to that home group. It was profound. As I stated before, no one invited me anywhere. Now, a year later, strangers are inviting me to their home groups in different states. Bizarre. And amazing. A young man from Ohio was celebrating 22 years and shared his story. It was a mirror of my own story. After the meeting and cake, I went to thank the man from Ohio. I shared that he told my story, and that I think, one day, I would like to be like him when I grew up. I remember it as if it was yesterday. Standing on the busy streets of Times Square, he yelled over to his friends and exclaimed, "We have a live one!" The group of presentable friends all ran over and started shaking my hands with introductions. That young man from Ohio and his friends were all delegates representing Alcoholics Anonymous at the General Service Conference in Times Square, New York City. I was taken back to the hotel where the conference was with my newfound friends to give me a tour, all the while explaining how the AA service structure works and how and what they were discussing that year. They walked me into the main meeting room where the podium was with the traffic lights on it. He walked us into the literature room to see all the printed versions of the big books in different languages. I was taken aback as they all looked different, but they were all the same. I think in that time there were 47 languages of the big book. In 2024, we have 80 versions. The Ohio delegate opened up each version of the big book to chapter 5, how it works. I remember touching the pages of different languages saying the same thing, overcome with how profound and truly magical this fellowship is. Seeing those pages side by side, I could envision the hope and the magnitude of the reach of Alcoholics Anonymous. It was awe-inspiring. Right before I was set to leave to go home, I asked my new friend how I could get involved, so that I could one day be like him. He took out his phone and was able to find that ICYPAA, which was the New York City Young People in Alcoholics Anonymous, was holding their elections and that I should show up to the meeting. A few weeks later, I showed up to the elections. I was so nervous, I almost didn't walk in. What if they didn't want me? Self-centered fear to the extreme. Despite myself, I walked in and I sat down and looked around, intimidated by all the AA All-Stars. It was all the guys who I looked up to in the AA meetings that were working a great program. I ended up standing for the events chair that day and was humbled by the grace of AA. There were many other actually qualified individuals standing for the position, and my service resume included and ended with the fact that I could throw a keg party. For some reason, they felt I should be a part of and voted me in. It was here where my journey with the traditions began, and I am forever grateful. My sobriety trajectory changed when I got involved in service below the group level. I find it truly remarkable how, looking back through my life, HP has always provided me with exactly what I needed. I know that now, 18 years into this, yet back then I truly struggled with the conception of a higher power. I'd been wanting more from my sobriety, but didn't really know what that looked like. And my higher power threw me into a room with a group of delegates.